regardless of their quality, I was just stoked to get girls who I thought were like really attractive. And then sometimes I was like, oh, they, you know, this is great. You know, I'm great at I'm like this jack guy because I was like sauced out of my tree at the time. Everything was like lined up that I thought mattered. Yeah. Like my game's on point. I have like this rotation. I'm not dependent on stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I just fall off and I'd be like, what the did I do? And I didn't realize there was guys who are one thing you recommend in the book is going to the military as a teenager before you go to college. So you're kind of like, you know, set up more when you get into college from a age standpoint, infrastructure standpoint, from like a financial means. You get all of these like exemptions from, you know, costs of college, which is like exorbitant now. You don't have like you don't get like, it's free entirely, or what is it?
Pretty much, man. They like pay for all your shit. And then also like you just don't have any fucking like obligation, like, you know, whatever your fucking parents made, that's irrelevant. You're completely independent. So you're basically a homeless kid. You qualify for everything.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is like you just have 4 years to fuck around without consequences. Like most guys go to college, they want to party the freshman year, their sophomore year, but then that ends up hurting their GPA and then they have to pay for it for the rest of their life. This gives you 4 years to kind of like operate with impunity and then come there, and you also get into a better college because you're military and, you know, they want diversity and that whole thing. So it's actually got a lot of benefits, and I think you're more mature. You're also just going to get laid a lot more as a 22-year-old than you are as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, no one wants to fuck an 18-year-old guy as even an 18-year-old girl. She wants a 22-year-old.
Exactly, and for good reason, you know. 18-year-old's not going to bang her good.
It's funny because I remember when I was doing the whole PUA thing and got into it at like 20-ish, and I would finally getting laid and starting to get quality women, or at least, you know, I perceived at the time these girls were, you know, hot enough at least.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of their quality, I was just stoked to get girls who I thought were like really attractive. And then sometimes I was like, oh, they, you know, this is great. You know, I'm great at fucking. I'm like this jack guy because I was like sauced out of my tree at the time. Everything was like lined up that I thought mattered. Yeah. Like my game's on point. I have like this rotation. I'm not dependent on stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I just fall off and I'd be like, what the fuck did I do? And I didn't realize there was guys who are older than me and have all these other things set up that are taking these chicks from me in the back end. And you wouldn't even, at the time, you can't even wrap your head around it because you're like, I did nothing wrong. Like I fucked you like perfectly. Yeah. You came, I look great. I have a like sick game. I do this. I do that. Like, what the fuck's going on?
On paper, it's like we're
I know,
fucking
and it
solid.
almost like you almost get compelled at the time, and I never did it, but I was almost compelled to like text some of the ones who ghosted me and be like, "Why did you like leave?" You know, like, and they won't tell you, but I mean, like,
it's funny though, man. Like a lot of the stuff. You know, as I got older, I realized like a lot of the stuff that matters to guys, girls don't really care that much about. You know, like being jacked, I feel like for guys, like I give a fuck about it. I've always cared about it. Like it's
anything more than like you now is just for dudes.
Yeah, 100%.
Chicks.
100%. You know, like the guns, the cars, like all that shit. It's like all stuff that guys, you know, being a Navy SEAL, perfect example. I thought that was like the fucking gate in. You could fuck any chick because that's badass, and like what chick wouldn't want to fuck a Navy SEAL? Bro, I had, you know, buddies that were fucking had been in the teams for like 10 years and shit, guys that had been through training, you know, at my parties. Chicks referred to him as the fucking Marine 2 minutes later. They didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? These guys didn't get no pussy. You know, it was just like, it was funny because, you know, all the guys were like, oh, that's fucking awesome, bro. But the chicks, like, they couldn't care less.
I know a lot of guys, and this is something I was kind of tangenting to with that, you know, talking about the 18-year-old going to the military and setting himself up, is a lot of guys think if they just grind their face off and get rich in their 20s, then by the time they're rich and then they start actually trying to date girls, I'm like, everything's set up on the back end from a financial structure to like be appealing to them. But they don't realize all the other stuff that matters and how like little, like, yeah, sure, it matters to be financially like independent at least and be able to like do stuff and be like out of your parents' house. But from like comparing the, I don't know, guy who makes 100 grand to a guy who makes like 2 million versus a guy who makes whatever, if they're like some nerd, dweeby fucking guy who's socially inept and sucks at talking, isn't charismatic, has no experience in life whatsoever, he's just like grinding his face off on Bitcoin and NFTs for 10 years and makes a shit ton of money, he doesn't really succeed with women compared to the guy who's like, you know, has a normal job but is like, has all this other stuff taken care of, I feel like.
100%, man. And I see it all the time. You know, like these crypto guys are a perfect example. Like they, you know, they don't have the true confidence, you know, and they'll have the money, but it just doesn't translate.
They feel like they beat the game when they get rich, but it's like They haven't even talked to a girl yet.
Yeah, they expect it all to come, but it's just one of the tools in your toolbox. You know, like you still have to be confident. You still have to fuck the chick good. Like you still have to be able to carry a conversation. Like you have to have some kind of fucking charisma. Like girls have to want to hang out. There's a whole thing, right? And so I feel like those are the guys that, you know, have the chicks on the payroll, you know, and my buddies are the ones banging the chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys are paying for all the shit, taking them on dates while, you know, they're fucking, you know, the fucking, you know, plumber, you know, or whatever, the fucking construction worker. Like, I don't know. It just seems like there's different types of dating. I mean, LA is like, man, it's really regressed. It's like just full sugar daddy fucking, you know, sugar baby shit now. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like almost every chick in LA, it seems like it's fucking for money now. It's crazy.
You actually have a quote from Chris. You told him back in like 2010 or something. I don't know. Do you remember Chris, by the way? Like we just talked to him briefly on the phone. I can
Chris
pull up
Duedes,
Yeah, let me see if you.
He was like, I think he was like an Asian guy. I remember he was like.
He's half Greek, half Japanese. Yeah. Do you have Wi-Fi I can connect to? By the way.
You have a what?
Wi-Fi I can connect to. Let's see. I'm just seeing if I can pull up a picture of Bert as well. See if you remember him.
Bert Bear, yeah. He was just like the full meathead dude, right?
Yeah. Seems like there's only like competition photos that I can find online though, but I'm sure you remember the dude. Like this is USA Muscle from let's see, this fucking guy.
No, yeah, I do. It's been so long, but yeah, no, I definitely remember.
So was he was your training partner or Chris's training partner? Do you know?
I think I trained with him. I never really like.
He was like Mr. Tampa apparently.
Yeah, I never really like did training partners too much because I had kind of like a hybrid routine, and then I always had like these narrow windows when I wanted to work out because of my meals. And at the time, I was like running probably 40 miles a week, and then I was doing like.
Yeah, this was Chris back in college.
Yeah, big arm Asian guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, he went to like fucking 6 or 7 different colleges, I think, too.
Really?
Yeah, one of them, it's funny, he actually pretended he isn't native at all. He's half Greek, half Japanese, but he said he was native to get into some like law school, and they like bought it. And
they, really? They didn't do any background on it?
No, nothing. Because I guess like, again, sort of like the, I don't know if it's like the same, obviously not to the same extent as like the transsexual sports thing, but it's like having an allotment of a certain race in your like job or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like you feel like you have to include certain people even if they're less qualified. Like, I don't know, in firefighters, like we need a certain amount of girls. Even
100%.
if a chick's actually better than the dudes applying, I get it. But if it's like, we just need an allotment of like, I don't know, white people, black people, Asian people, this, that, and this many women, or else we're like racist, we're like sexist.
Which is so fucking stupid because it's like, you know, you don't see that in the NBA, right? It's like 90-something percent black with 13% of the population.
Where's all your fucking short white guys?
Yeah,
you know?
like they don't just add, you know, the random fucking. So it's like, it's okay. Like it's fine to have like racial disparity in certain fucking things. Like everything doesn't have to be an exact fucking.
No. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like lack of maturity when they like take that shit seriously. You know, like you're literally willing to compromise potentially somebody's life in a fire. To like,
well, how about the military, man? Like you know, they're letting there too, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like you have a woman. It's like, you know, a combat loadout could be fucking 80, 100 pounds. It's like, what chick can carry a fucking 80, 100 pound combat loadout and then fucking haul a guy out that's just got shot that weighs fucking 200 pounds with another 100 pounds on his fucking back? Like, no girl's fucking dragging 400 pounds out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like.
So how do they get past that stage, or do they?
Well, I mean, they just set different standards. Which is
they like lowered the thing.
Absolutely, yeah. So which is fucked up. You know, it's like. Look, man, if somebody can compete, you know, like let them fucking, you know, let them compete. I mean, I don't think like women should be in special forces in general just because like of the logistics of it. It's like, you know, you're out on an op. It's like sex shouldn't be on your mind. You know, like you should be able to fucking, you know, change without worrying about it. Now, like you have to have 2 bathrooms. It's just like there's so many logistical issues. And then like, what if one of the guys starts banging her? Or, you know, are they gonna be more likely to fucking compromise something to save a woman? It's just like. There's just shit that you don't need to be thinking about, you know? Yeah. And it affects, like, what you can talk about, too. I mean, I don't know. I just think there's, you know, there's a time and a place for, you know, equal opportunities. And it's, you know, most places, there's just certain, you know, segments where, you know, like, for instance.
The fucked up thing is how this would be considered controversial opinion. You know?
Yeah, which is crazy because it's just fucking logic, right? It's like a man should not be fighting a woman in the MMA. Like, 3 years ago, everybody would be like, yeah, if a man hits a woman, that's fucked up. But now it's like
Now
this.
they're like rear naked choking.
Now he's beating the fucking shit out. There's some ex-special forces guy that like wants to transition, which is fine. Let him transition, but it doesn't mean he should go beat the shit out of women, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's certain things that I think seem obvious on the surface, but because everybody's like so worried about being canceled or politically correct that they sacrifice logic, to appease the mob, and I just won't do it.